Oh, we're live. Okay. So, earlier, some people were watching, probably none of the people who are watching now, but I did a drawing on Steven's arm. He's getting his first tattoo, and now you're going to see me finishing up. It's a heart morphing into like a nervous system around a human face, which a tree is growing out of, expressing that everything's related. And yeah, I'm live. Okay, comments are coming. So I'm just gonna put my phone up here. It's gonna be quiet and people can tune back in so that anyone watching earlier can see how the tattoo's, coming out. This is so funny. Can I turn the camera around? Can you slide out to the edge of the chair?
Steven, Scott, this tat looks great, kid looks like a bitch.
Who's Scott?
This is so annoying. That's really annoying. Alright, there. Let's see if that works.
Now we look like one of those lame, quiet shops.
Alright.
We are.
They play like trance music in the background.
Oh yeah, we don't even have music
Nobody
on.
talks. They're like fucking.
Oh shit.
Not like
Steal
that
my
at all.
phone back.
What the hell? Alright, so...
No, I'm just thinking of nothing.
Are you watching? No.
Yeah, I would get the comment.
Oh shit, can you read some of those to me? That's awesome you're here actually.
Looks like a Newport smoker's lungs. That's Eric Thompson.
Oh shit. That's wicked funny. That was a good point. I tried to make it look like a heart as much as I could. Oh shit.
What inspired this piece?
The client, Steven, brought me a piece of artwork that an Italian artist had actually put together. So I'm really this is a very straightforward piece actually. It was pretty much just the concept he brought. The idea, what's it called, Steven? The idea?
Sosin's monism, I think.
Sosin's monism?
Monism,
I'd say something like that and then say I think after.
Well, that's
It means...
true.
The idea is about how everything is one. We're all a small part of a greater, larger whole. How's the view? Can you see what I'm doing?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Oh yeah,
Kinda more on
that
the
is
right
pretty
side,
good.
but you can see
Yeah.
everything else.
Yeah, because this thing will be like... I can try and put it a little bit more forward. Let me see.
Megan, you're awesome.
Don't.
Who's not supposed to cry, me or him?
I'm assuming Steven.
Shit. Blair Witch Project. Okay.
Got dump them out.
Nice.
Dump 'em.
Dump 'em out.
she was going crazy.
Feel like we know him.
Point that camera over here, I'll dump him.
Mikey wants to dump them out.
Love your ink. Love that too. I'd love to get a tattoo by MJ, but I'm all the way in PA.
Oh,
From South Carolina.
my client, yeah, my client, these guys are up here from South Carolina. They came to Connecticut. And my client, what's today?
Wednesday, 19th.
I think it must have been Saturday. My client was from Pennsylvania. But I don't remember. People come up from all over the place. Like, I didn't tattoo anybody local this week. I definitely get a lot of people that travel. It's really amazing. Makes me feel like I probably shouldn't dick around. I should get their tattoo done. And these guys were patient all day.
That is what I would have done. I would have slept all day.
Oh, if you're at home?
Yeah. We work at night, so.
Yeah.
Dude has a patchy beard.
Yeah, these comments are so funny. Oh my god.
What's the pain level at?
He seems fine.
Yeah,
I was on this heart down here a long time. There's a lot of layers to it.
yeah, the tricep.
So that's
on
probably
that
kind of sore. More good comments rolling in.
I'll toss another 100 for a hidden penis. Do you have any more openings in Connecticut?
We're about to open up June. I know that's super last minute. Like, most artists that I tattoo with, most of my peers kind of book out like 3 months, the shortest, 6 months. But I have no idea what I'm doing with my life. So I'm booking out only like 2 months at most. So I keep on thinking like I'm ready to move somewhere else. Just waiting for the right time, really.
Me and Megan will be in Brazil in July.
Mikey's trying to get on my Brazil trip. You can ask if there's anything they want me to talk about specifically, just have them ask.
Someone just said, where are you located?
Connecticut. Up in Wallingford, Connecticut. So we're on the Inked magazine page, not my own page, like with my own followers. So I feel like the comments get pretty generic.
Yeah, it's why I haven't said anything. It's just like, they hurt, very impressive, and people just saying they come to their town, like Cleveland, Scotland.
Is my hat just constant? Am I just in the way? I like can't reach my tattoo. Oh, okay. Oh, it's so weird because that's like behind time. It's like
Yeah.
not quite right.
Original artist of the drawing that was asked a couple times.
I don't know. I gotta Google it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look it up
Oh, you
before I post it. This is definitely like I stayed pretty close to his. I didn't trace it, but I just redrew it based on his, and it really does, you know, it's obviously his concept or hers. So I'll look it up and put it in there. I can't tattoo. This thing is in my way. I'm just gonna lift the camera higher.
We've already been here. That's why I'm going up the
You can lift the whole.
I like how you're laughing at the pain.
I'm not gonna cry. Why walk in?
Right.
Do you use pre-mixed gray wash or a drop system?
I use a drop system. I make my own. So I learned from Carl Grace and Jose Perez Jr. Jose Perez Jr. does like halves. I think he starts with like 32, then 16, or no, maybe he just starts at 16. So like a full length cap, and then 16, 8, 4, 2, 1. Carl Grace goes a 9 drop to a 5 drop to a 3 drop to a 2 drop to a 1 drop. So depending on the piece and how many shades I want, how much contrast I want, I kind of pull from one of their systems. I think kind of one of the interesting parts is just figuring out when to use a shader and when to use a liner. Rondell Holmes, that like collector guy, was looking at my work the other day and kind of noticed I use a lot of line work where most realism artists wouldn't. And that's true. I'm definitely not afraid of a liner. I don't really care whether my work is realistic or illustrative. I just try and make something that looks cool at the end of the day. I mean, once in a while, you know, I am. If the person came and asked for a realistic piece, that is what I'm trying to do. But you know, a lot of the time, people are just open-minded and looking for something artistic, expressing an idea.
Do you have an Instagram account?
Yeah, I do have an Instagram account. I guess I probably should have put that on the description. Well, if you just look up Megan Jean Morris, it'll pop up, actually. That's the name of it, Megan Jean Morris.
Her Instagram account is Mike Franco
You do portraits.
Yeah, I actually do portraits. I don't do... Really? You do? I don't do them all the time. Like, I'll take a portrait on once in a while, just because I do like practicing my realism. But, you know, usually it's a little hard to get artists to do just a picture of your grandmother, a picture of your daughter, unless you have a really nice artistic picture for them to go from. Because, you know, we're not always inspired by just any kind of image. How many people are checking us out?
6,000. I think like 300 of them are from Colombia.
It's all Spanish.
For like where we're from, just starting to recognize all these names.
Wait, what?
There's like 5 people that we know from our bar back home.
Oh, really?
They're on here responding.
Oh, that's so funny. When you said Colombia, I thought you meant the country.
No.
Okay.
Columbia, South Carolina. Worst Pornhub video ever.
Yeah. It's in no good categories. What's your favorite, ask them, why don't you guys write in and let us know what your favorite category is in Pornhub.
Type in the search box, Nick.
Yeah, exactly. You don't just go to a restaurant and order the food.
Definitely stepmom.
That's awesome.
Big black cock.
Oh, good.
These are good, you guys. Stepmom, definitely stepmom, and big black cock is what we've gotten so far.
Definitely goat on easy.
What?
Grandma.
Goat? Goats?
Goat.
Goat?
This guy, Eric Thompson's like 50.
Goat on easy?
Grandma without teeth.
These aren't categories, are they? Goat on easy. I'm thinking like, wait, are you guys finding a section of Pornhub I haven't found?
Like writing down.
Yeah, I'm like, hold on.
Mental notes.
Let me jot this down real quick.
How much an hour are you? Good question.
What I charge per hour is different depending on where I'm tattooing. If I'm traveling or if I'm at home. So if you have the questions like that, just email. You'll talk to Tony about it.
Back to the categories from Pornhub. Tattoo artists that deep throat.
Tattoo artist at what?
Deep throat.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay, so nice. One of the Pornhub categories. Tattoo artist at deep throat. I think I'll take that as a compliment. You dirty perv.
It's like making
You
cheese
watching my
making
Facebook
cheese.
Live? Yeah.
How heavy is your hand? I got my first tattoo recently and the guy dug into a couple of spots.
I'm actually very light-handed based on what I hear from people. But, you know, it all hurts. My needles are still sharp.
Hope so.
Yeah, it would hurt more if they weren't, but...
What's your favorite tattoo that you've gotten?
Me?
Let's see.
My favorite tattoo is... that's a tough one, because I have some really good tattoos.
I hurt any feelings.
Yeah. You know, when it comes to favorite tattoos, I think it's, I think my favorites are actually the ones I got first. Just, you know, they're kind of shittier compared to, like, you know, they're not, I have good, the ones on my calves are shittier. Like, they're supposed to be traditional, but they're shitty traditional. The guy was just learning how to, you know, he was in his beginning of his career, and he was a really cool guy. He was my boyfriend at the time. But, you know, they just mean a lot to me, and they're just real simple. They're just fucking tattoos, and so they make me smile. I've got some incredible work from Josh Duffy and Nico Hurtado. Of course, I'm in love with their work, and it makes me feel really beautiful. But when I think about my favorite tattoos, probably just the old tattoos that just, you know, document a time in my life and the beginning of my career. I actually really like old shitty tattoos. So there's that.
Who is the coolest person you ever tatted up?
Mike Franco.
The coolest person that I ever tatted up. Well, I don't usually say tatted up, but coolest person I've tattooed? I don't know what you mean by cool. Literally, like, I personally think, I tattooed that Paul Senior guy from Orange County Trappers, and he's like an old dude now, but he's like tough as nails, man. He's like 75 or something, and he's so, for 75, he just was so fucking cool. Like, I love seeing, like, people at any point in their life just still out there doing a bunch of shit that they love, you know, and his personality and his spirit, I would definitely call him cool.
Someone said, definitely not this guy.
Oh my god, this is great. Okay, I don't know if you guys on video, could they hear, like, you talking? Yeah. Okay.
So can you show him crying, camera girl?
Camera girl.
So camera girl's not here right now. She had to go to yoga. So the camera's just being held by my little clip, which is relatively boring for you guys. I'm sorry. So now I'm just kind of putting in texture in the face that tries to make it feel a little bit like the nervous system. And then up here I'm going to make these veins look like trees.
Lots of questions from before. What does it mean? Where is the shop located? Those new people, I guess.
Yeah, that'll happen a lot. Well, so the tattoo is an image of a heart. You can see it kind of. Yeah. A heart that's morphing into a human figure's nervous system. And out of the veins and nerves, there's trees growing. The idea is that everything's connected, and we're like a smaller part of a larger whole. It's not my original art, although I did freehand the piece this morning, so I changed it by a lot. But the original image that we were inspired by was done by some Italian artist. I'll be posting his name when I post the picture.
How do you get better at drawing? I'm struggling.
There's no shortcut to becoming good at drawing. You just have to do it. It's literally hours adding up to hours. You can take classes, you know. If you're drawing from life, you can definitely take classes for that. You can take classes for anything, basically, but artists, a lot of painters have seminars, and that's a good way to really improve your skills. But basically, just keep looking at stuff and then trying to create it on the paper in front of you. With these morphing pieces, I have to be very careful not to go too dark behind the recognizable shapes. So the edge of the heart, I have to stay real light behind it.
You ever do people with darker skin?
Yeah, I actually do. I've got quite a few like African American or Hispanic clients. A lot of realism tattooers like sometimes won't tattoo darker skin because they don't think their artwork shows up very well on it. But I'm not into that. I actually love tattooing dark skin. It just changes the design. You have to go a lot more open, a lot bolder, leave a lot of skin tone. But I think that, you know, tattoos look good on everybody, and everybody should be able to enjoy them. So, yeah, totally.
How long have you guys been at it?
Long time. We started at 3 o'clock. So we took, you know, maybe a couple breaks to eat or something, but this little like heart section is really intricate. It took me a while. I figured a whole tattoo might take me maybe 7 hours, maybe 8, but probably 7.
What's your favorite porn category?
Oh, good question. What's my favorite porn category? Nah, there's no good dude stuff. I mean, I'm into dudes. There's no like hot dudes in porn. Well, I guess there might be, but like, I don't know, nothing that does it for me. So when I watch porn, I'm probably watching it for the same reason everyone else is, which is to watch the chick get fucked. I don't know if that's too graphic for people. Probably. There's probably nice people listening to my feed here. Shoot. Well, my favorite Pornhub category, I like the whole fetish thing, I think can be fun. What did you say? Someone said stepmom earlier.
Yeah, Brad Curl.
Sometimes I go big titties. What's DD? Double penetration? DP? I love porn, man. I don't understand people who don't watch porn.
So no goat fetish?
No goat fetish, no. I'm not into animals. What's that called? Bestiality? Yeah, it does nothing for me. I think Michael Che made such a good point where like we can ask each other without blinking an eye about our favorite horror movie. Where like horrible things are happening to people. They're just being slaughtered. But like we talk about, you know, two people like making love and it's like super taboo.
I gotta close my laptop. Don't disturb the other passengers.
The other passengers on the subway. Alright, so just lift your arm up for me and actually kind of... Yeah,
how are you introduced into tattooing?
There you go, just gonna rest it and slide out towards me a little. Oh shit, my phone is low battery. Hang on, I just gotta plug my phone in, forgot to. How was I introduced to tattooing? I was drawing on people my whole life. Like, as soon as I was ever handed like a marker or a stamp or face paint or anything, I was getting kicked out of daycares and preschool and babysitters and stuff because I was always painting people's bodies or mine. We were getting hosed off outside and things. And then by the time I got to high school, I was doing like full back pieces and sleeves on my friends with Sharpies. Still didn't ever consider being a tattooer. Like, had no idea it was even like a real job or anything. Then I went to college, but I didn't go for fine art. I went for industrial design. I felt kind of like like spending that kind of money on a fine art degree was maybe not the best idea. I still agree with that. I think you have to be careful about college. You know, I think college is a good experience. But you know, pay for a degree that you'll definitely be able to use, or it'll give you skills that you can value, because college is expensive. So I went for industrial design, which I did learn a whole design process that kind of changes the way I approach tattooing, I think, actually, because I go through...
Clarify what industrial design is. A lot of people get confused.
Industrial design is product design. So if you're designing, maybe there's some new technology out and a company owns the technology or wants to take advantage of it, they might come to industrial designers and say, like, how can we make something cool with this new technology? Or you might work for a firm where you do a bunch of different design for different companies. Maybe you're working on new packaging that's less easy to steal razors out of or something. Or maybe you're working on a new interface for the iPhone, or...
Oh, that's UX.
Is it?
Yeah.
We still had design. No, we had interface design. Yep. It wasn't like a huge part of it, but definitely a part of it. I didn't do any of that, but Syracuse was very, like, conceptual, the design stuff. Anyways, I dated a tattoo artist while I was there, and I never dated anyone from the school. I always was dating, like, street kids from Syracuse, and kind of just local townies, and, yep, that's who I like. And, this one guy, he's really cool. He's a cool tattooer now. His name's Jeremiah, what the fuck? Gifford, I think. Jeremiah Gifford? Clifford? I don't know, but he has a shop in Syracuse called Working Class Tattoo. And, he taught me he didn't really teach me how to tattoo. In fact, I asked him to teach me how to tattoo and he said no. But just by watching him, and I helped him get an apprenticeship at Scarab Body Arts in Syracuse, and just by kind of watching the process, I learned a lot and realized it looked like a pretty cool career field, something that I could be in that didn't really, like, it wasn't hypocritical, it didn't, like, go against my values. And one day, if I ever wanted to have kids, I thought, it'd be nice to work in a job where I could control my hours.
How do you make sure the tattoo will heal like you intend to and the contrast remains?
To make sure the tattoo heals how I want it to, that just comes from a lot of experience. I'm really careful not to overwork the skin. So like, I'm doing these like black branches right now. I'm being very careful not to actually stick my needle in too far because I don't want raised up scar tissue in these areas. So, you know, you have to know when to be gentle and just go over it a few times. You have to know how much the skin can take. And really I think that comes from experience. And then contrast-wise, well, I do use a drop system for my black and gray, so I make my own ink caps over here on my tray. And I make sure that the contrast is kind of like extreme, so I go from a full black cap, and I have different types of blacks that I'll use for my full black. One's darker and more concentrated than the lining black. And then I go from a full black cap right down to like a 16 drop or a 9 drop. So I get pretty extreme contrast. And then I put it in a way that kind of almost looks too dark today. But I know how it'll heal up, and black and gray lightens up a ton. The ink continues to fall out and break up and wash away into the bloodstream. For the first 6 months it does it a lot, and then really for the full first year it's really lightening and softening.
Do you have tattoo restrictions? Like tattoos that you won't do and areas you don't tattoo?
I would love to tattoo a dick. If anybody's out there, I've never tattooed a dick, and I think that in my like, you know, book of stories, I need to have like my dick story. So I haven't done that yet, and I don't want to do it a bunch, but I do want to do it once. I don't really want to tattoo a vagina. Vaginas kind of gross me out. So ladies need not to apply. Restrictions? Nah, I don't really have restrictions. I'm just kind of, it's more about the piece. You know, if the piece is right, and I have like a 5-hour minimum, so it's generally larger, more artistic pieces that I'm doing.
Eric Thompson said he's down for a dick tat.
Eric Thompson sounds like a liar.
Yeah, I think so too.
I can go for 5 hours, man.
On your dick?
Black it out.
Black it. I want a big black cock. Oh, I forget. We're like totally out in the public here. I should apologize to all of the moms and children. Again.
I've been filtering them too.
Shit. You've been filtering the comments?
I just told you, no, I meant like filtering when I tell you these things.
Right, like there's worse ones?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay, well then at least my mouth isn't the dirtiest on here. This is really, really professional and mature, everybody. Thank you for joining us here today.
Eric is not getting a dick tat.
Eric's girlfriend Holly just got on and said he's not getting a dick tat.
Holly, that's hilarious. Thank you for clarifying. By he will, he means he won't. So yeah, we just drew this on here this morning. I just drew it on here with Sharpies. No stencil. Freehand tattoo. I love them. I think they have a lot of flow and a lot of unique feel when they're done.
I said rotary versus coil.
Rotary versus coil. Well, this is a rotary that I'm using. I always use rotaries when I'm doing realism. I love coils. I kind of suck at using them right now because I've been using rotaries for as long as they've been out. I have a couple coils that Clean built me, and I definitely prefer using them for line work. I guess shading's alright with them. I don't know. I'm more used to my rotaries. But I think, you know, if you look at a tattoo that was done by a coil, you really can see the difference. It puts the ink in differently. I think it really just puts it in there really like solid. With my rotary, I feel like sometimes with color realism it looks like the tattoo is kind of sitting on the surface of the skin. But you know, we just layer a lot with color realism, so it has a whole different look. You wouldn't want it slammed into the skin like it can be with a coil, because you damage the skin by doing too many layers. I know Josh Duffy really prefers coil for his black and gray. I don't think I do. I think rotaries are super convenient. They do what I need them to. I'm not very high tech. Like when it comes to tattooing, everyone always asks me like how I do what I do. I don't really know. I just kind of keep fucking trying until the tattoo looks good, you know? You're making a piece of art, you know? Make sure it's clean where it should be clean. Make sure it's sharp where it should be sharp. Make sure it's saturated. Make sure it's got good flow. Good color theory if it's in color. You know, I can make a tattoo with anything. It doesn't really matter what machine I'm using. Or what needles I'm using. There's needles and machines I prefer. They make it easier. And I don't like being frustrated, so people were asking me about cartridges earlier. I've used the Peak cartridges I like a lot, and honestly, mostly I still stick with Cheyenne. They're expensive, but I only do one tattoo a day, so I like the color coding. They're super, super consistent. But other than Cheyenne, my other favorites I've tried were the Peak. And I have tried quite a few. I get frustrated when they don't clean out very easily. I don't like waiting while I'm switching colors. If the well like fills up with water and it just like takes forever to rinse it out, I don't like that. I definitely like, obviously, you know, if it puts the ink in faster. I like that. Depends what sizes companies offer. When I'm doing realism, I'm using bug pins, but if I'm doing color, sometimes I want larger, like 12s.
How do you tell if a tattoo parlor will do great work or not?
Oh, the other yeah, she's like.
That's a good question. I'm gonna get back here, so just kind of twist a little, yeah. Yeah, if you do that for a minute. Whether a tattoo parlor will do good work or not, you have to look at portfolios, and you need to know what you're looking for. So make sure that you're looking at stuff that's similar to whatever you want done. If you want lettering done, you need to see lettering in someone's portfolio. Or, you know, maybe not lettering if they don't do a ton of it, but line work. So if you're getting line work, you need to see line work in their portfolio. If you want realism and portraits, you need to see realism and portraits in their portfolio. Definitely don't mess around. Reputation, like I would definitely talk to other people who have been tattooed at a place. If you have a tattoo artist that you can ask, you know, ask them what do they think about this guy's work. You know, should you get something done by him or her?
How do you convince your girlfriend of 2 years to let you have basic social media app?
A basic social media app?
Let you have a basic social media app.
That has nothing to...
I have no idea.
Why wouldn't you be able to have a basic social media app? Does she, because like maybe because they think it'll like ruin your relationship or something?
Where are you located at?
Yeah, I'm up in Connecticut. My shop's in Connecticut. I travel and tattoo at other places, but I'm based out of Connecticut right now. I'm actually selling the shop to my boy Ricky, who has been with me for 5-6 years. Learned how to tattoo from me. And I want to feel a little bit freed up to move and travel, so I'll still work here, but I don't want to own it anymore.
Considered surrealism, not realism?
Well, yeah. What did they say? This would be surrealism?
Wouldn't this be considered surrealism? Yes.
Yep, this is surrealism, not realism. Although when I talk about tattooing and technique, when you're tattooing surrealism, your technique is the same as it would be with realism. You know, you're using light and shading, realistic light and shading. You're not hard lining things in a way that flattens them out. You can use lines, but you kind of just shade off of them. And so it's a lot of the same technique, it's just different type of design. But this is definitely surrealism. It'd be hard to find one of these in real life.
How long have you been doing tattoos?
I've been tattooing for 10 years. My apprenticeship was 10 years ago, at least.
Before you ask, how much does a tattoo cost?
The price of a tattoo varies depending on where I am, if I'm traveling or if I'm working out of my shop. So if you just email and give Tony your idea, she can give you some idea about pricing.
You never go to California?
I go to California quite often. Feel good back here, Steven?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I go to California pretty often. I absolutely love California. I'd like to get out there and tattoo with Sarah Fable, actually. I just got to meet her in Pasadena a little while back, and I think she's super rad. I want to get some of her work. She's out of San Diego, I believe, and I really like San Diego, so probably get out there soon.
What advice would you give someone looking for an apprenticeship?
Man, it's super hard to get an apprenticeship, but it's really worthwhile. Having an apprenticeship will save you like 10 years worth of trying to figure it out on your own. And it'll save a lot of people from really shitty tattoos that you do trying to figure it out on your own. So to get an apprenticeship, someone needs to know that it's going to be worth their time to train you. So you want to let someone know that you're going to be a really good artist, which means you got to show them some drawings that are impressive. And then you got to let them know that you're serious and that you're going to be a hard worker. So if there's something else that you've done in your life that shows that you can keep a commitment and have follow through, you're going to want to mention that to them. And it's okay to be honest about why you're mentioning it. Be like, look, I follow through on my shit, you know. I was a special ed teacher for 5 years, you know. Like, you can show them, like, or I went to college and I completed it. Like, anything that you did to completion shows that they're not going to be maybe just wasting their time with you. And then I'd say don't approach someone in a way where they can say yes or no right off the bat. Don't even give them the option. Just show up and let them know that you know, you're definitely interested in finding an apprenticeship, and their work has really inspired you, and you wanted them to know that you're someone in the area who is planning on finding an apprenticeship. And then talk about art. Don't ask them right off the bat, will you give me one? Because they will say no. And as soon as they've said no, the word no is in their head. So don't even ask. Just introduce yourself, talk about artwork, you know, drop pointers about yourself that might make them start thinking, man, I might be able to get something out of training this person. Okay, so then you have them actually thinking about it before they just say no without thinking about it, you know? Because training people's a pain in the ass. And it's a waste of time in a lot of ways. You're just creating more competition for yourself. So, you know, you really have to, someone has to make you be excited about training them.
How hard is it to get you as a tattoo artist? And you ever done black light tattoos?
How hard is it to get me as a tattoo artist? I don't know how hard it is. Tony handles my schedule.
I waited like a year and a half.
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing lately. Like my client the other day, so I don't ever think of myself as a big deal or like whatever. I book out like a month or two, and I hope I'm not a total failure in life, and I try to have a healthy relationship. Goes nowhere. But around tattooing, you know, lately I have been hearing like my clients wait, or like Tony emails people back like sometimes like a year later or something. Some people wait 2 years. That's crazy to me. It's really awesome. So, but some people, you know, they get right in. Just they kind of respond at just the right moment when I put up a post and I need a spot. I mean, the fact is I only book out about 2 months. So I'm not booked for the year. I guess there's just a lot of people trying to get in. So Tony's kind of like got lists going, and she tries to call people back based on if they live sort of near where I'll be tattooing, or, you know, what order they called or emailed to try and get an appointment. And she kind of tries to like keep track of all that stuff. So I don't really know how hard it is, but most people I'm tattooing these days seem to have waited about a year. But the cool thing is that once you are in with me, you're in, and we'll work on your project until it's done. So, you know, if you're starting a sleeve, you don't have to wait 6 months in between sittings, because I do only book out 2 months. I'm going to make sure that you get, you know, several appointments at once, and I'll see you, you know, every month if you want, till it's done.
Steve from Ink shouting out.
Oh, Steve? As in Steven?
Steve
Hey, man, what's up? Steve Perlman. Cool. Yeah, this is my first time going live. Well, second, but, you know, just earlier today was the first time for Inked magazine. Sammy gave me all this cool equipment to do it, so I figured I should, you know, show some appreciation and respect. Inked magazine has been a huge supporter of mine. There's a few people in the industry that just over the years have really, really become my friends, and I know they support me as an artist and as a person, and Inked Magazine's one of those. Sammy actually picked up on my presence in the industry before most people, and he gave me a spot on the cover of Freshly Inked. And Freshly Inked was a magazine that kind of really highlighted a lot of up-and-coming artists. And so ever since then, Sammy over at Inked Magazine has been a huge supporter of mine, and I can't tell you, like, just the good things that I have to say about that tattoo magazine. They really do support the artists in the industry.
Steven says we love you.
Oh shit, that's awesome. Yeah, love you too, guys.
Have you ever thought of going to Australia to tattoo?
Yeah, I totally want to get to Australia to tattoo. What's up? I'm just gonna sit down. Yeah, I think this is looking super rad.
Oh,
I love freehand tattoos, guys. I mean, stencil tattoos they're impressive. You know, the color realism stuff is impressive, but I just love the flow and creativity that comes out of a freehand tattoo. It feels like no one else could make this tattoo except for me because I drew it, you know? And like, so it's gonna feel like my hand made it. Australia? Yeah, I want to get to Australia. It's just, you know, traveling is super rad, but there's other things in life I want to do too. Have a baby. So, like, you know, travel's cool. It's just, after,
I'm trying to tell her.
what'd you say?
He's like, it's not that fun.
I know. Everyone who has a kid is like, the first thing they say is they're like, it's a lot of work. And they're like, yeah, okay, I get it.
It's the fucking toddlers that I can't deal with.
But like, I don't know, man.
Start talking
I'm
back.
getting old. If I'm gonna do it, I gotta do it. And I just think life is kind of like a little bit boring without kids. So, you know, I feel like being a mom. But we'll see. If it doesn't get in the way or happen first, then I'll come to Australia. If not, then I'll get there later.
That's 2.5 million. And I got 2 mid-condition kids.
My artist Mikey is trying to sell me his children right now. You've got a 2017.
I got a 2016 and I got 2012. 2012 needs some work, but
A little, What are you, Puerto Rican?
Puerto Rican.
Yeah, so you got little Puerto Rican babies for sale? That's nice, Mikey.
I'm gonna
Just don't ruin it and get married.
DCL call on me
What?
super quick.
Just don't ruin it and get married.
Oh, actually, whoever said the married comment, I agree. I want to have the
Yeah.
baby by myself. Like, I'm totally into relationships with one person, but I'm totally not really into the marriage thing. And I think kids seem to put such... I can't really imagine being, like, tied to one person, unfortunately. That scares me. So I might kind of actually be having a baby by myself. And it seems like kids put such a strain on relationships. The relationships often don't really look all that awesome to me. So I kind of maybe want to just do it by myself for the first couple of years, you know? And then then if someone is in my life, he'll just be a bonus. I won't have huge expectations on him that just make me pissed off at him all the time when he doesn't meet them. You know?
You hear that, Cynthia?
Mikey's yelling at his wife through our camera now.
Ask Clean for a donation to help with the mom thing.
Oh, God.
Chris.
Nah. Clean's bank is closed. Actually, that dude's babyless. He's already had 2 kids anyways. Like, you know, I wouldn't want more than 2 kids. That's enough for most people.
Jay Gonzalez says, let's do it, I'll give you a baby, no problem.
Ooh, Gonzalez, little Spanish babies.
MeganGMorris@gmail.com.
Yeah. Yeah. You can send your samples too. Yeah. Yeah. I think half Spanish, half white babies would be beautiful. Jay, thank you.
Spanish people make cute ass kids, man.
Yeah, man. Spanish kids are super beautiful. I thought about adoption too, you know. It's kind of an option. Adoption, the option. My clipcord's getting loose, so it falls off sometimes.
What about a Hawaiian baby?
Moana.
Yeah, Hawaiians are beautiful. I feel like mixes in general are really beautiful. So whenever you take two races and mix them, I think the result is like pretty stunning. So I wonder at the sperm bank if I can just be like, give me something exotic. And, you know.
You got anything in khaki?
Anything in khaki? Yeah, totally. I'm a little bit nervous about all the like school system stuff. Choosing, you know, I don't even like school. Like, I don't really agree with a lot of what they teach and what they prioritize for kids and what they think is important, and the dumbass cartoons kids watch today. So, you know, I get nervous about, like, man, all of the things that might be important to me, and hopefully, you know, can just make it all work. Steven seems to be a little bit not enjoying my liner.
Ooh.
Do you do memorial tattoos?
I do a lot of memorial tattoos. Designing a memorial tattoo isn't that different to me than designing any other tattoo. There's a design process that I use to kind of come up with my artwork usually, and you know, we just talk about who you are and who that person was to you. I don't usually do like names and dates. I usually come up with imagery that really captures who that person was to you, captures their spirit, and maybe captures the fact that they're no longer here with us.
Carolyn says, I wonder if that lady that commented you couldn't draw at the beginning of this still thinks that awesome freaking work.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, you guys, this is hilarious. When we started this video today, so I just drew this on here with Sharpies. I didn't use a stencil or anything. And when I start drawing, it's just like a blue blob, because I kind of like just block out, you know, I start blocking out where I want things and what size and basic flow. And so it doesn't look good at first. Like, no drawing looks good at first. Well, at least not mine. And I just kind of like scratch it in there, and then I refine it a lot while I'm actually tattooing. So yeah, some people were commenting that like I couldn't draw, that I suck at drawing, which was hilarious. What else should we talk about? I'm bored.
Ink shop.
Ink shop?
Yeah. Ink shop.
Like the stuff Inked Magazine sells? The Ink shop is rad. I have this new sweatshirt. It's a black hoodie with pink writing on it that says Inked, and I love it. I think Inked Magazine gets creative. They got some good merchandise. Really fun stuff. I have some underwear from them.
Maria loves the blonde hair.
Oh, thank you. Is it Maria, you said? Thanks, Maria. Yeah, the blonde is interesting. I've never done blonde in my whole life. I just didn't even know if I could, but at this point in life, I'm kind of just doing like everything I ever wondered about and wanted to try, but haven't yet. And so, you know, I had messed up, I messed up my hair when I went to do Ink Masters, because like, they wanted it super bright red, so I had to do like, I had to bleach the crap out of it, and it kind of like ruined my hair. So since then I'm just like, well now since my hair's already ruined, I might as well just do everything crazy to it. I really, really liked the pink, but then the pink washed out, and my dad's house burnt down, and I missed my appointment to get my hair re-dyed because of the house. I was distracted. So it started turning blonde, and everyone started complimenting me. So I was like, oh, it's not supposed to be this way, but, you know, apparently people are liking it. And I started thinking like, man, can I actually have blonde hair? Can I pull that off? And so I decided to try it. So it's in progress. I actually am gonna go for that like real white blonde with the like dark roots, like old 90s grunge style, because I'm a 90s girl. But yeah, it's in progress. I'll probably end up back at the pink at one point. I really liked the pink. Better than the red. I didn't care for the red. It was too red. I'm actually super sick of it now.
Do you regret doing Ink Master?
Do I regret doing Ink Master? No, not at all. Ink Master was a really cool experience. It was very frustrating. It's a hard place to be the artist that I am. But it was a really fun and cool experience. And even when it wasn't fun, it was still interesting. And I met Clean there. And even though we're not together anymore, you know, I really appreciate the time I had with him. It was super fun. Dump them.
What
did you think of the last season with the girls?
Well, I don't actually watch the show. I didn't even watch the season I was on. You know, if it happens to be on and I catch it, I'll stop and watch it. But, so I never saw full episodes from last season. But I adore Kelly. I look up to her a lot as an artist. I'm really glad she was on there to expose her work to more people. I actually got to meet Ryan Ashley just recently at United Ink, and she is super, super cool. Like a really, really just beautiful person. Very rad chick. So I was pumped to meet her. I think TV's TV, so I don't really give a fuck about the whole, you know, when a black dude wins or when a woman wins or any of that stuff. I think that, you know, I just think it's a cool and fun show to kind of see some artwork get done on, and congratulations to whoever wins and whenever they win. But I do think a lot of it's just, you know, based on ratings. TV show.
A lot of hoopla.
What about her cover shoot?
I think she killed that cover shoot. I think Ryan Ashley is one of those very amazing people. You know, just super talented in multiple areas. She went to school for fashion, and so now she's found a way to direct her tattooing career in a way that she gets to play around with some of the fashion stuff that she loves. You know, she's a beautiful woman, and she knows how to market herself really well. So I think she killed that photo shoot. You know, she's actually really good at modeling, which a lot of artists aren't because we're shy in front of the camera.
You should lift the camera up. It's focusing on your hat instead of the.
With the camera higher, you mean?
Yes.
Or maybe
Or separate angle.
Just turn it, yeah.
Okay.
It just ends up focusing on your hat and blurs the tattoo.
I'm gonna have to go more from the front, I think. Try that.
It's delayed.
Yeah.
Just like 5 people said something. That's the reason.
Oh.
I didn't notice it until they said it. How's homeboy doing for his first tattoo?
Yeah.
Alright.
Some people
Not
checking
bad.
in with you.
Up here is killing.
Yeah, you can see that where you're pointed. Up top hurts.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is Steven's first tattoo. It's a pretty crazy first tattoo. I'm gonna turn this a little. If I can get in here.
When are you getting your license?
I almost feel like maybe I'll move my camera entirely. Let's see why not. I'm gonna try to put it like over here because I need to get to the front of your head. Everyone bear with me. I'm going to be moving the whole camera setup, so it's going to be crazy for a second.
You're not gonna wear it? You're crazy, bro.
I'm not going like, if I go in the hand, maybe I'll wear it. You can't go down the road with fucking.
Bro, I see it all the time. People fucking die pretty often.
I almost got one of those. There's considering me something like that. But then, that was going to cost as much as the client battery costs. And you have to put the car. We have one on 6 then.
Yeah, that might work.
Mazda?
Yeah.
Put your arm down
That's
straight.
just using it for work and
Yeah,
everything.
just wanted to see where I have this on the camera. That looks rad.
More than 2 seats.
Okay, so we're getting there. I just have a few more branches and leaves to put in, and then I have to work back through and just make sure everything's clean and saturated, and the contrast is correct. All the forms are built up correctly. And then, you know, this stuff I'm a huge fan of. I use the H2 Ocean Aqua Tat, and it's real thin and silky, and I absolutely love it. I really do. I also often will use the H2 Ocean Nothing for a numbing effect if someone's doing a long sitting.
Are you guys driving home tonight?
But on black and gray,
We're going to Jersey.
on black and gray, I don't always use it because, you know, I'm just kind of finishing a section and moving on. And so it's not as traumatizing as color can be. Long sittings. What's he showing you?
Steven Perlman said to ask Sammy for each swag and he'll send it to you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I always want some of that ink stuff. A lot of times it gets my attention on Instagram. Ink sells a lot of really cute, little funny things. Cute t-shirts, and I just like scarves and hats and little. Oh, you know what Ink was selling? Pins. I like pins for my vest, buttons and stuff, and my jackets. And I got this really cute one from them that's just a little green soap bottle. I really like the pins that like only tattooers would know what they are. Like one's a thermofax machine. I need that one. They're expensive pens. They're like $10 pins, so 3 little pins was $30. But totally worth it. It's one of my favorite pins, and it's real solid. Like it doesn't feel like cheesy. It like sits flat on my jacket and doesn't fall off.
There's a water cooler over there.
Ask Steve Perlman, or you guys who's listening to me, Steve Perlman, were you here for our Pornhub discussion? I don't think he was either.
My wife is Dominican now, so we're coming together.
If you were, everybody had to share what their favorite category
He
is.
said no.
He said no. Alright, well, we all had to fess up to our favorite category. And the viewers had to fess up, I had to fess up. So, if you really want to be included in the conversation, you're going to have to name a category. It's like, oh, we don't love you anymore, Megan Jean. I don't know, it's boring. Tattoo's boring. You know, tattooing is boring, so we have to talk about porn. Or anything else riveting while we tattoo. What else can we talk about? Gossip. Anyone have any good gossip? I don't have any good gossip. I've got a bunch of gossip about tattooers, so I can't. That's not stuff I can share on here.
You do those cover-ups?
Do I do a lot of cover-ups? No, not too often. Usually when someone's looking for a cover-up and they phrase it like that, they don't really want a huge tattoo. They kind of want something that just barely covers whatever they already have. What does happen is someone will ask me to do a back piece, and they'll have some little piece of something on their ribs, and it will be in the way or distracting from the piece I'm making, and we'll decide to cover it just as part of the process. Or in a sleeve, you know, a lot of times people have a tiny little tattoo right here on the shoulder, just kind of smack in the middle of a big canvas. So we'll kind of cover it just coincidentally as part of the tattoo that I'm making.
Scale 1 to 10, you think?
Up here it's probably like a 6 or 7, but normally it's like a 4 or a 3. Something on it's my shoulder bone, dude.
How many hours then? Just 1? 12?
We started at 3. Yeah.
Like actually tattooing.
What time is it now?
That's a good question.
9:20. So what's 3 to 10? 3 to 10 is 7 hours. Take an hour out for breaks, and the tattoo took me 6 hours. Yeah, that's awesome. This is probably going to be a 6-hour piece, which is really rad because in the beginning of the day I thought, you know, it should be a 6-hour piece, but I'm just in a phase right now where I'm tattooing a little bit slower than sometimes. It's a, you know, artists go through different phases. Sometimes we tattoo a little slower, sometimes a little faster. So I thought maybe this should be 6 hours, but I thought maybe it would take me 8. But luckily it has come out kind of exactly what we thought, you know, what I thought it should, which is 6. And I think that's just kind of because it's freehand. You know, freehand just moves faster when you're tattooing because you're not constantly looking down and checking a stencil to make sure you're doing something right. You kind of just keep tattooing and going with the flow. But yeah, I've been doing a lot of color realism kind of lately, and it's just super slow, man. So it makes me feel slow. It's just a slow technique you gotta use. So this like really is a sensitive spot up top here. So nobody ever likes it when I get to the top.
Right on the collarbone. Sit it right next to the collarbone.
Yeah, not really.
See what it feels like.
Yeah, those are just your nerves. Nerves will make you think you're like super close to this area or that, but it's just the shoulder, top of the shoulder for some reason always stings. A little scratchy. You see it?
Beautiful.
Looks cool, huh? Yeah, I like this one a lot. It's so cool because just every day my projects are so different. So it's really fun. And something that's super fun about freehand is that I really don't know what it's going to look like when I start the tattoo. I just kind of have to trust myself as an artist, and I know I've got a good layout. I've got some ideas of some contrasty stuff that should work, but a lot of it you figure out as you go, and it's so exciting, you know. It keeps the artwork very alive and fresh feeling. Sometimes stencil black and gray looks very stale to me. Alright, so I'm just going to work back through this stuff a little bit. At this point, I'll use some of the H2 Ocean Nothing so that he doesn't have to be in super pain. Because this, you know, all this stuff down here is pretty sensitive. So I'm going to put some Nothing soap on here. It's got a little bit of lidocaine in it. The H2 Ocean Nothing is rad because it doesn't change the skin at all. And it works really, really good. This one's empty. There's everything. So yeah, this was just a freehand piece for those of you who are just hopping on. Just drew it on with Sharpies, no stencil. And we're finally at the end where I'm kind of just working through it. This stuff gets me through super long sittings. You know, sometimes it's pretty common that I'm actually doing 10 to 12 hour sittings in a day. Today's a 6-hour sitting. So this stuff really gets me through those really long sittings. Well, I'd say it gets my client through them. So this might sting a little at first, but some people sting, some people it doesn't. Totally worth it. I don't use any sort of numbing products until I'm at least halfway through a tattoo. It's really important to build up some of your natural adrenaline and pain tolerance, so that by the time you get to the end of the tattoo, when you need relief, you experience relief. If you start using the numbing stuff too early, you just adjust to an easy level of pain, and then you adjust to that, and then it's just as painful, and there is nothing I can give you for relief once you've already decided that it hurts with the numbing stuff. So it's really important. I don't use it right away, ever. I don't put stuff on the skin that numbs it before I start tattooing. I have to let, and that's just what I found to get people through really long sittings. It's not me trying to be a dick or anything. I'm just like, what's it called when you like putting people in pain? Sadistic, yeah. Alright, so this, I kind of already cleaned up a lot of this. The heart, I really put in there and saturated it. Even my light tones, I saturate very heavily. So even if it's just a 1 drop or a 2 drop, I'll do a couple layers of it, so that over time, as my black and gray lightens, it lightens in an even and solid way. Oh yeah, so Steven, how's this feel with the numbing stuff?
All it feels is vibration, like nothing.
Yeah, crazy. So that H2 Ocean nothing is really, really impressive, guys. In areas where the skin is open, not open, he might feel a little bit more. But where the skin's been opened up with shading already, you basically don't feel anything. That's really incredible. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a relief, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going back into that heart.
I'm just kind of putting in little details and little edges here, so that everything looks clean and easy to read. Over time, when this thing softens, I don't want it to become a big mush. So it's smart to kind of put in, if I wanted to, I could throw lines in these areas. I'm not scared. I'll put a line. I'll put a line in here, right now. I'll do it. I kind of, I like sharpening things up with lines at the end, because a lot of times I would never use lines when I was a younger realism artist, and then pieces come back a year later and you end up putting lines in anyways. So now I kind of just do it in the fucking beginning, because I think lines work. I mean, you have to be careful how you use them. If you're trying to make a 3-dimensional piece, you don't want to flatten it out, But look at that, that's a nice black line. So as that softens up, this branch will never like mush into the ribs. And in fact, Carlos Torres and Josh Duffy would disagree with me here, but I think I might put a line underneath each of these ribs, just kind of going like against my light source. My light source is coming in from the upper left. So, I don't want to line the top of them, because that will flatten out my image. It'll make it look like a 2-dimensional design. But I think I can line the under part of these. And just know that it'll give it like a little bit more pop. Alright, so compare that rib to the others. And yeah, it does. It pops out a little bit more, a little bit cleaner. I don't want to line everything. I think I'm using the lines specifically on objects that are in my foreground. Yeah, that looks great. Good idea, guys. I'm glad you got me to do lines. Couldn't do his tattoo without you. Yeah, super fun. I love all the layers on this piece. You know, really three-dimensional. You guys looking at a comment or something?
Yeah. 'Cause your body looks so good.
Just talking about you in the background.
Yeah, it's gotta be me.
You guys hitting on my clients here? His body looks better now that he's got a tattoo on it.
Alright.
Every time he puts his hand on his leg, it's like he's got one.
Oh, really?
Like, what the fuck is going on? It was freaking me out at first.
There. Yeah, so don't.
She looks good with blonde hair.
Woo! Thank you. This blonde hair is a trip, man. I tell ya. I can walk into like I dress like shit half the time. Half the time I dress up. No, you guys are definitely not getting my cell phone number. You know, like the blonde hair is crazy though. I can't believe like how much attention it gets me. It's super fun. I was in Home Depot the other day just in these ratty jeans and a ponytail and a hat, I think, and like dudes are staring at me. It's like, this is super, it's like a social experiment. There, see? Those lines are just kind of like finalizing that top layer. I'm really liking that. I think I'll put one under here. You know? I did put drop shadows in throughout the piece, but because the light grays look so dark right now, you can't really see them. We're almost on white highlights though, so hang in there if you guys want to see the finished product. You want your tattoo to look really good without the white highlights. You know, if you're waiting for the white highlights to make it look good, you're doing it wrong. Because those highlights will fade. And what someone will be left with is a shitty tattoo. So you want to make sure it looks good without white highlights, and then the white highlights are a bonus. Plus your white highlights aren't really going to show up right if you haven't got enough shading in there anyways. So your tattoo should look good without them. What I'm doing right now is just looking at my light tones and really trying to be honest with myself about how it's going to heal up. Light gray lightens a lot, so I'm looking at the edge of the face and trying to, you know, I want the edge of the face to be soft. I'm not trying to make it as dark as the heart, but I want to make sure that it's there so people don't lose it later. This in here is just a 3-drop in most spots. That's a 1-drop.
Yeah, the parents of the kids
Looks
that I
pretty
work with,
rad.
They all come like really tattoos. The necks, the knuckles, that's what's gonna hurt. You know, sensitive parts.
I wanted my hands done, but
It's cool, man, when I'm watching that, because I can...
Yeah, it's so weird to me that you can actually see your tattoo right now. Because most people when I'm tattooing them don't get to do that.
that's what I like.
But because we're on here, yeah, it's really cool. I think I'm going to fuck around with the nerves a little bit. They look black right now, but I didn't really use black up in there. So I think I'm actually going to put some real black in. Again, my reference doesn't have black in it, but I think high contrast is good and important on tattoos. I think it holds up well over time. So I'm just going to throw throw some more nervous system stuff in here. I might even use like a real liner to do it, you know, that was a round shader. I'm gonna use like my liner and do some sharp little tiny nerves. Dude, this isn't black, this is just gonna be a 9-drop. So funny, like listening to this video, because you guys get to watch this for free, and when I was learning how to tattoo, you know, eventually there were DVDs out. Definitely nothing was for free. Spent a lot on seminars, and before that, you know, everything was top secret before there were DVDs, and it used to be really hard to learn how to tattoo. Yeah, those are looking cool. There's a lot of detail in this piece. I think this more like a tree up here.
But the problem is, like, this is kind of down the road. I feel it's kind of fun. That's been
For some reason, this area looks a little unfinished to me. Just where there's like broad negative space. But you'll notice in my black and gray, there are sections with broad negative space, and I kind of think that's a thing I do, because I get to this point and I feel like over time, it's nice if things aren't too shaded in. Skin tone in the tattoo, I think looks really good, breaks it up. I just see a lot of pieces that look super gray to me, almost like they were just overshaded. So I don't know, you know, I learned to shade my stuff more than I used to, but I still hold back maybe a little bit compared to some artists. So I'm just going to back up and check this out from a distance for a second. Yeah. So my objective with this tattoo is, even though there's a ton of detail in it, I still wanted you guys to be able to tell what it is from like across the room. And I'm pretty pumped because I think you can. You know, this really does feel like a heart in here, but it also starts to feel like someone's chest cavity, the rib cage and the spine, leading up the back of the neck to the head, and all of that's pretty obvious from a distance. I'm going to put a tiny bit more shadow underneath the spine here. And then I think it's time for white highlights. And I don't know if new people are jumping on, but this was just a...
2,000 people watching.
Okay, cool. 2,000 people watching. You finished this tattoo. That's so cool to me. So, yeah, you know, we're just like... I drew this on this morning with Sharpies. That video is going to be on the Inked magazine page just earlier. If you want to watch just the drawing of it. See, I'm popping that rib cage up off that background, but not where it blends back into the piece down here, just in the middle. And then this gray is going to lighten up a lot, so I'll have this black drop shadow. It'll be really dramatic once it heals. Someone was asking about contrast earlier, and that, you know, this light gray looks really dark right now because I saturate my light gray very carefully, so it's like 3 layers of a 3-drop. It's like 2 or 3 layers of a 3-drop, so it looks really dark right now because there's a lot of red skin under there, but it will heal pretty light, and you'll start to see the drop shadows beneath those guys.
Real, full letters.
And now,
So you're saying that you're way better than the last two that were live on this channel.
oh, I kind of talk a lot. I'm an extrovert, so sometimes when I'm talking, I'm just, I'm just kind of figuring shit out for myself. And like, extroverts, it's not that like we want to share our thoughts, we actually just figure things out when we say them out loud. So if you guys weren't here, I would still be saying things out loud, just not as much. But my clients hear everything, man. They hear my fucking doubts, my fears, my concerns, my excitement. Like, the client knows the whole time what's going on while I'm designing their piece, while I'm creating their piece. It's a very honest experience, and I think it's really cool because they get to see, like, what the artist is going through as I create their work. Alright, so I gotta just wash my machine out. And, this is something I like about both the Peak cartridges and the Cheyennes are good about this. When it's time to wash out my needle and use white, I don't have to get out a whole brand new cartridge. These needles wash out really easily. So I've got 2 different cups of water out here. I've got one for when I initially wash all the black out, and then one for a final rinse. And then, even then, I kind of will dip it into my white and let white run through it for a minute, and then rinse that white out to get more of the ink out, more of the black ink, so that I'm not putting gray in for white highlights. But yeah, this piece for people who are hopping on and off, this piece is represents how we're all one thing, a smaller part of one big thing. There's a word for it. Do you remember the word?
I think it's substance monism.
Monism?
It's more like a philosophical thing, like theory, than it is
a noun.
Yeah. It all up.
My client's trying so hard to sound smart right now. Are there any interesting questions or comments? What are they? Some people are new, so every once in a while. Alright guys, the price questions I'm never going to answer online. It's just not tattoo etiquette. People charge different prices depending on where they're located and what they can fucking charge. And what I charge changes depending on where I'm tattooing. So if I'm here at my shop, it's one price. If I'm traveling, it's a different price. So when it comes to prices, if you're interested in me specifically for your tattoo, you need to email meganjeanmorris@gmail.com. And you'll talk with Tony, who handles all of my scheduling. And when she has an idea of, what you're looking to have done, she'll give you some ideas on price. I have a 5-hour minimum, and as far as artists in the industry go, I charge pretty much what my peers charge, which is a little bit more than your average street artist, but not as much as some of the like super expensive artists out there. I'm trying to get paper towel off of my needle right now.
It's a ruler that's 12 inches.
Alright, so slide out. I don't want you leaning your arm against the back of the chair. Yeah, that's good. I'm really bossy when I tattoo people. I am. Like, my clients call me Mean Jean. I'm super nice, and then I start tattooing you, and you wonder where the nice person went. But I'm very direct, and I'm just trying to you know, save everybody time and get people's projects done right. Okay, so white highlights. I definitely want to bring those ribs out. Now, it's hard to numb up for white highlights because I'm using a liner and it kind of cuts through whatever the numbing stuff can do for them. So actually, I just sort of found an edge that's like not as clean as I would like. So I'm gonna take the time to go back in here and make sure I shaded right up to that line. Taking the time to do stuff like this will bring your tattoos to a whole nother level. My clients often get antsy at this point, and I remind them that this is the stuff that separates a good tattoo from a great tattoo. You know, making sure it is really clean and buttoned up will make a big difference. Okay, so for these highlights, I think I'm going to use a round shader, not a liner. There. I'm not going to hit the whole thing. I'm just aiming for a little bit of like a shine right down the middle here. Turn my machine up so it's actually putting lines in. Just gonna wash that off and see how it looks.
Physically exhausting. You're gonna feel drained after this.
That's true. You should really know what I'm gonna ask. What? Sometimes like tweets.
I'm just gonna grab more of that Aquatat, that H2O Chanel Aquatat. I've got regular cheap A&D ointment out on my thing too. I use that to stick my ink caps down. But I really prefer, you know, putting ointment on. I like that, the Aquatat. What other products do I use? I use stencil stuff when I do stencil. That stuff works good for me. It's the right amount of hold. When I'm done with a portrait, I don't want to see contour lines in the cheeks still. You know, so stencil stuff stays until I'm using soap intentionally to like wash it off. So I'm a big fan of it. It works for me and the way I tattoo. I use a lot of H2 Ocean products, so this is like that Aquatat. It just, you know, makes my tattoo look great. Doesn't make it all cloudy like A&D ointment, and spreads really easily. I think I want to bring this vertebrae out here, so I'm going to put some highlights like right into the center of this guy. See, I'm just bringing the top layer out. There's a lot of layers in here. And you kind of just want to use your white highlights just to bring the things sticking out, you know, bring those things forward more than the things behind it. Sometimes you might use a little white highlight to describe a shape a little bit better. You know, I could put a little white highlight in here, but I'm not going to. I really like that looks like a highlight, but it's not as bright as the layers on top.
It's like I reached like a 7, just like a few minutes ago. They're that thin line,
Yeah, see, I don't really want that conflicting with these. I like that that's quiet texture, something you get to notice after you notice these. Same with this little vein here.
Body breaks down into that's why these lasers like for like researching and lasers break up the particles from smaller pieces that your body digests easier.
I think I need a little bit more shading up in here. So I'm not going to do white highlights for a second. I'm going to do a little bit more shading. Just, you know, there's a lot of little stuff going on in here, and I still want it to look clean and intentional. So I'm kind of just simplifying some stuff where I can. That looks like it got cut off in a weird way, so I have to go describe that better. Any comments or questions? I use the FK Irons Spectra. No, I don't use the Spectra. I use the FK Irons Edge. I've used FK Irons for the last like 7 years, honestly. I really like them as a company, and I like their machines. There, see, I just kind of finished up that area. I'm gonna round out that eye a little bit more too, on up here. Just give the lids like a little shading so they don't look flat, they look round. Make sure you shade in the direction of your light source. So my light source is coming from the upper left. I'm going to give this guy a little eye socket and make sure I shade based on my light source direction.
It looks a lot cooler on the skin than it does on the paper.
I think everyone in here is getting their first tattoo today. So Justin, Steven's getting his first tattoo, and Robert over there with Mikey is getting his first tattoo. So the numbing stuff, you gotta wipe with water when you're using it. You can't wipe it with soap. The soap will counteract the lidocaine and just defeat the whole purpose of it.
For good reason too. It came out good, man.
Yeah, that's alright. He wasn't like.
Oh, this looks good.
Okay.
I told him it was my first hand tattoo. My first tattoo was a hand tattoo. I was like, oh, this is my first hand tattoo, man.
It's really your
It was the first one.
one.
First time holding a machine, and I was like, you know. My boss
That might
was
be
over-
it. I don't do much for white highlights.
I'm about to tattoo him. He's like, this is how you hold a machine. Don't go any deeper than this. Yeah. Like, he's like, don't go
Somebody's
any
asking
deeper
what
than
you
this.
suggest for
Let's
someone
just
with
get
not
this
too
hand
much of a pain
and this hand.
tolerance.
And I'm like, alright. Fucking did it. The first, honestly,
like,
the first time I wasn't that nervous.
what
It
do
was
I
like
suggest for
second,
someone with not
third,
much of a
fourth.
pain
I got more
tolerance?
nervous.
It's like
I don't know exactly what you mean.
like stab people with needles.
I don't tattoo people who don't have much of a pain tolerance. I mean, people have to sit 5 hours minimum for me. So,
Brutal.
I'm kind of,
Sorry,
I don't know exactly what I would recommend. I mean, I don't use the numbing stuff, you know, until someone's been sitting, usually at least 5 hours.
Like, by myself where I was gonna get paid for it.
I think
I
mentally,
was like this.
anyone can handle 5 hours. And so, if they just don't like it, I'm sorry. You know, they probably shouldn't get tattooed. Or they should be able to just work on the fact, you know that they don't like it, but that they're okay. You know?
I know. How you not gonna tell me
Two butterflies and a dragonfly, but they were outlined in color and shaded in color, and then they had like wings, like a little bit of wing going through.
I'm just making sure these light areas are saturated and not scratchy.
I thought back then I was shit.
That's something I just didn't know about black and gray before Josh Duffy showed me that, you know, even your lights need to be really saturated. Otherwise they just fall out and they look scratchy anyways. I think Josh Duffy's an amazing tattooer. If you guys aren't familiar with his work and you like black and gray, make sure you go check it out. He's someone I look up to a lot. He's a really good person too. I'm just kind of scouring the tattoo for anything that looks unfinished now. So, a couple of these bones off the side of the vertebrae. I could see the line there, and it's been bugging me, and I realized it's because these actually need some shading in here.
Somebody's asking what the difference between freehand.
Oh, the difference between freehand and stenciling? So when you stencil on a tattoo, you get a design together and then you trace it onto a carbon piece of paper, and then you stick the carbon piece of paper onto the skin, and you kind of color it in. It's like kind of like a coloring book is how. See, that looks way cooler, like giving those things little divots. But you know, it's kind of like a color by number when you've got a stencil. When you're freehanding, you draw the design on yourself. You draw the design on to the skin with Sharpies yourself, and the difference you end up with is a design that really just flows and fits the canvas perfectly, because your eye and your hand naturally drew it to look good on this surface, not on a flat piece of paper, which then you stuck onto this surface. So you end up with a design that just fits the body perfectly. And the feel of the art looks like your hand drew it, no one else. Because when you're tracing something, sometimes your tattoo could look the same as someone else who made the same tattoo. But if you're freehanding it, it will never look like someone else's. It will look exactly like yours. Alright. Looks real saturated. I'm going to move my camera so that you guys can see it from a better perspective.
Like I feel
this guy.
So we look at maybe tomorrow. What can I do with it?
DJ.
He's just like, I'll sit there and I'll draw. Did you know? Sketch my tattoo for the next day or some shit.
There's a lot of glare from this light, so let me see.
Robert money.
Some of the ointment off.
I would invent a lab or something.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather have lab on the computer. That's not happening.
So yeah, if you guys want to check out the drawing segment of this tattoo, it's just on an earlier live video on Inked Magazine's Facebook page from this morning. Or not this morning, but from 3 o'clock this afternoon, or 2 o'clock this afternoon or something. And then, you know, this is the final product. I don't use a ton of white, but I like the little bit that I got in there.
That's really good.
A lot of detail. Alright. So that's it. That's it. Thanks for watching. And how do I see comments?
I don't know.
Swipe to the left.
Swipe
Or-
left.
Oh, sorry. That other way.
Put on a mask and give yourself a fun. Oh, that's like a tool. Amazing work. Okay, cool. Awesome. Thank you for all of the comments, you guys. Yes, that. Oh. Carrie Breen. This getting a tattooed in Maine when redoing mine. Hi, Carrie. Do I remember that? The only first tattoo I remember in Maine was the elephants I did on Buffy's wrist. Sorry, dude. I suck. It was a long time ago, and I've tattooed a lot of tattoos now. But thank you for the support. It's really cool that you're watching this and that I tattooed you so long ago. Alright. Thank you so much. A lot of nice comments on here. I guess just, you know, get good tattoos. Bye, guys.